Good morning, fish keepers. Cam here from the fishroom.co.nz. Hope we've had a good day. Hope we've had a good week. We have made it to Friday. Let's do coffee. Coffee is good. That wasn't weird because the coffee wasn't good. That was weird because I've got a tooth infection or a gum infection or something weird going on, and it's quite painful to drink hot drinks still at the moment. But that is okay. So, for those of you that are following us and joining us, we are live streaming both on YouTube and Facebook as well as TikTok. And I must make some significant apologies to start with. My internet has been absolutely junk and rubbish this morning, and it looks like it's still being junk and rubbish as well. So hopefully we can get through this unscathed. We'll see how we go. We recorded a Three Idiots Talk Aquarium podcast this morning. You should find us on Spotify and YouTube. But it was an absolute disaster. The internet was up and down and on and off, and I had to restart. I don't know how many times. It was really, really not a good time. So hopefully we can get through this one. Also, apologies, John is not here today. He is got some family business to deal with. So it's just me. You've just got to put up with me. I apologize for that. Hopefully we can make it a good time. Anyway, so we've got some new fishing this week. Some real highlights were the mosquito raspora. And to be fair, some of them aren't going to make it into the shop. So we bought, I think, 20 of them. And I'm going to use several of them into my little desktop aquarium that I set up over the week. If you haven't followed us on TikTok, you won't have seen that. But actually, I might have put a post on Facebook as well. So I've set myself up a little 15-litre aquarium for the desktop here, a little botanical type thing that I'm going to put Chili raspora in because Chili raspora are fantastic little fish. So I'm looking forward to getting them through quarantine, getting them happy, and getting them into this tank over here. For those of you on TikTok, I will give you a quick look at it now. For those of you who aren't, well, you'll just have to see some. Well, look at that. We can do that. You'll just have to see it next time. So, yeah. So that I'm very much looking forward to having some fish in there. It's already taking my eye quite significantly with no fish in it. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that develops. So, yeah. Good morning, Brian, and good morning, Rochelle. I hope you're both well. Morning, Marmite and Toast and Son is home to become teachers only. There's a few of those teachers only days happening at the moment. So back to what we mosquito raspora have come through. A few of them are going to go into there. We've got some dwarf neon rainbow fish, absolutely beautiful, and some very, very large rummy nose tetras, like some phenomenally large fish. I have not seen them come through that large in from wholesale before. They're huge. I was going to keep a couple of them to try and spawn from, and I still might because there's not going to be any growing need of them. They are ready to rock and roll already. Got some pearl danios in, a very underrated danio. I think they're very, very pretty fish. They get a really elegant blue color to them as they get a little bit bigger, almost like a blue-purple color. Very underrated, and they full of action the whole time as well, which is cool. Good morning, Zen. How are you doing? What else do we get? We've got some Burmese glow lights. Again, I think a very, very, very underrated little fish. Decided to make it my goal to promote those fish a little bit more because they are phenomenally pretty. If you haven't seen them before, it's absolutely worth a quick Google of them. They are beautiful fish. So the Burmese glow lights. Got some purple goldhead rasporas, which I also really like. I've had a soft spot for the goldhead purple raspora for a very long time. I think they're very nice fish. And some Dalmatian mollies, which have come in a little bit scratchy. I'm hoping that I can get them to a good size. I have no intention of selling these Dalmatian mollies. Every intention to keep them and to spawn from them, mainly because it seems like every single molly that comes through, that just seems to have issues with them, and I'm trying to have a decent supply of them. So there's no point in me buying 10 mollies at a time and only being able to sell sell one of them because they've all carked it because they've come in a bit average. So I'm hoping that from this group I'll be able to keep a decent amount and then get some fry from them. Then hopefully we get some slightly stronger fish so we can continuously to have some mollies going through. Good morning, Betty. How are you? So far, so good. I have not broken a test tube. Fingers crossed. Kia ora, Dan. How are you doing? And g'day, Thomas. I hope everybody is well. I hope everybody is primed and prepped and ready for the weekend. Woo! So the new fish that have come in, it's about half of what we've got available in the quarantine area. So I think I'll end up probably doing another fish order before Christmas. Hopefully I can time that right, looking at the dates right now. If we can get all that sorted, then we should be nicely stocked for when all the wholesalers close up over the Christmas break. So as I'm sure many of you know, we've been doing we test on cycling products and cycling the aquariums and stuff like that. So we started it approximately a month ago. So we're testing stability. What else? Stability, prawn, cycled media, filtered muck, and Dr. Tim's straight ammonia. So far, the results have surprised me a little bit. The ammonia from the Dr. Tim's has skyrocketed and has dropped down, but it's not caught any nitrite yet, which I thought it would have by now. The cycled media and the mucky water both had a couple little spikes to start with, but they seem to be the most stable. The prawns ammonia is still through the roof, but it has also caught a lot of nitrite as well. So at some point, that's all going to begin to drop down, and then we'll have a nice cycled aquarium. And the stability, the first week, as I followed the instructions on the bottle, worked absolutely fine. After I stopped adding the stability, the ammonia, and spiked up a little bit. Wasn't a massive amount, but there was a little spike, and then it spiked a little bit higher, then some nitrite caught as well. So I was a little bit surprised at that. I thought they would have, the way they're meant to work, would have stabilized everything. So we've only got 6 guppies in all the tanks that potentially have the ability to put guppies into them. So it's not like there's a massive bioload. They're not being overfed or anything like that. So I was a little bit surprised along that sort of happened. But that's where we're at with that for the time being. We will. I'll keep that going until the stability has stabilized, and then we'll go from there and see how we go with that. I think I'm going to try and put that into a bit of a written document. I might try and get a couple graphs made because I've tested every single day except for one which I missed. So we'll be able to have a wee indication of how things have moved and all that kind of stuff. So it's been quite an interesting wee experiment. And Thomas has said, is shipping a fish during Christmas risky? Yes, to an extent. It's about this time. Sorry, I'll leave it back up. It's about this time of the year that I really, really closely watch all the courier times. It's normally about the second week of December that everything really begins to peak, or begins its peaking. And so it's normally around about then that we'll stop sending fish. We'll normally give the plants another week on that, and then the last week prior to Christmas, we'll just stop sending all plants and all that kind of stuff. So we're getting definitely close to that point. It's when delays start happening for longer than 2 days is when I begin getting concerned about shipping fish. But it definitely becomes more risky. Wholesalers will still send fish out basically until they close. For a direct-to-consumer reseller like I am, I tend to be a little bit more cautious on that and just hold out. Once we stop sending fish in that sort of last week or so of December, week and a half of December, normally don't worry about it over the Christmas break because no couriers are running completely properly depending on when public holidays fall and that kind of stuff. And then the week after, when everyone gets back, I don't normally worry about that as well, purely because they're normally quite slammed. But then normally the second week of January, things start going back to normal. So that's about when I start resending again. So I hope that helps. Any potential Black Friday specials? When is Black Friday? Is it this week or next week? And going by that answer, probably not. That being said, anyone who is subscribed to our email newsletters or our email service, you'll probably find some specials coming through there. I made a very strategical decision this year to do very little sales publicly. The only ones that we have done have been for, I think we did one for Aquarium Day, World Aquarium Day, something like that. So anything that has been related to aquariums or something related to what we do, I've been public with that. Any other sale or special we have done has only been via our email service or the odd one that we've done on this live stream. So that's where that's at. So at this point, probably unlikely because I haven't really been thinking about it, but it doesn't mean that we necessarily won't do any Black Friday specials. Good morning, Helen, and I have heard that it's Canterbury holiday today. How good. So that leads to a good question. Would you rather a public holiday on a Friday or would you rather a public holiday on a Monday? Most public holidays seem to fall on Mondays. I've always thought that a Friday public holiday would be way cooler than a Monday public holiday because, well, how good is it having a 3-day weekend starting on a Friday? Well, then again, a 3-day weekend starting on a Monday is still pretty good as well. But yeah, so that's where I've thought. So what do you guys think? Fridays or Mondays for best days for public holidays? Definitely wet here at the moment. Okay. Black Friday next week. Maybe. We'll see how we go. I haven't really prepared for it, so I'm not 100% sure regarding the Black Friday sales, but we'll see how we go. Cool. Love me Friday off. I'll take any. Yeah, totally agree. I'll take any day off as well. No, I just wish Friday might be a cool day for it. Rose Hoy Fisher. Yes, it is risky to send fish before Christmas. Couriers are often overloaded, delayed delivery. It's not so bad after Christmas. I mean, a little bit of time, but you're still catching up. Yeah, basically. Cool. Right. What have I got asked here? So during this week, we've had a Frontosa spawn. We've had 2 Frontosa spawns, actually. 2 spawns on the same day. If you're following us on TikTok, you'll be able to see that video that we did. I think it was yesterday. So you'll see that. So we had the big grumpy guts at one end spawning, and then we had the junior grumpy guts spawning at the other end, which is quite a feat. It's a 7-foot aquarium. I still wouldn't have thought that the big boy would have allowed spawning at both ends, but turns out I was totally wrong. And so, yeah, 2 pairs spawning, which is cool. As of this morning, one of the females is still whole, and the other one has swallowed her eggs. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm not going to be surprised if they both swallow, get rid of the eggs, because that's just what they do. I believe they're still quite a young pair. So yeah. Also had some rainbow fish spawn. I pulled the mops out on Monday, so more Bosmani and more dwarf neon rainbows, so they should hatch in a few days' time. So that should give us plenty of rainbow fish fry for some time now. I do enjoy doing a big special if I end up having too many fries, so that might happen again as far as the special goes for fish. We've done big specials on electric blue rams before and big specials on blue lacustrous rainbow fish when I've been able to purchase big quantities at a decent price, and I've been able to offload those at a really good price to everybody. So if you are a breeder, you don't even have to be a Nelson, but Nelson is probably better. But if you are a breeder and you do have some very large quantities of fish that you'd like to knock off, 50 to 100 type thing at a time or more, so then I can pay a good price, then on sell them at a good price, please feel free to get hold of us, and we can talk and we can go from there. Yeah, rainbows do take a very, very long time to grow up. So yeah, I'm not holding my breath that they'll be ready for sale in the next 6 months, but we'll see how we go. My fishes love the Agapo Pro and the Community Plus, but my son and partner don't like the smell. Son asked me why it smells so gross. Yeah, totally agree. It does have a bit of a stench to it, the Agapo range. The Rapashi range. I personally really like the smell of the Agapo. I think it smells quite fruity compared to some of the other ones. There's a couple in there that really smell. Why it smells, my guess is that it's got all these good ingredients in it, and then it's been dry, and then when it's added to the water, obviously the steam evaporates and brings it back up, and then it allows that makes that smell come through. So that is just my guess. I'm not 100% sure, but that will be why I think that it probably smells. You'll probably find that fish foods factories smell like that quite regularly as well when all the mixtures get put together. It's just that we are mixing the mixture when we get it home. But if you can take away that weird smell, it's a beautiful product. So yeah. At the fronts, at the rainbows, and yesterday I managed to move on my very, very large, or one of my very large birches, so I can now finally let the L168s have their own spawning tank. So I've got a trio of L168s. I've had them for a little while now. I bought them as a breeding group, but they haven't shown any signs whatsoever. They've been living with some T-bars for a little while. But now that the birch is gone, I can put the T-bars in with the loaches, give them all a bit more room, and hopefully we can get these L168s heavily spawned, because they are very, very pretty fish. The butterfly pleco, easily one of my favourite plecos that we can get here, common or easily enough. If we can get L134s, leopard frogs, they are next level, but it is what it is. So yeah, fingers crossed we can get them going, because they're real pretty fish. They're definitely of age. They're definitely big enough. They're just not been giving what we need, giving up the goods, so to speak. So we'll see how we go. Hopefully, yeah, we can get them cranking along. I thought I was giving you a pitch. Well, I wasn't planning on it. To be fair, the one that I've got left, the birch that I've got left is 450, 500 mil long, so it's really, really big, and I really don't want to send it if I can avoid it. I prefer it to be picked up and taken as quick as possible, because it is ginormous, and I really do not like sending big fish like that. Oops. Good morning, Silver. How you doing? Everything's good. Right, so that's that, and I have moved and separated some more stuff over the course of the week. So for those that have been following along on TikTok, we've shown that we've added a few more aquariums around the place. I think that puts us to about 120 water holding vessels at the back here. I say water holding vessels because there's some little 6.5 litre breeding containers, and that is all running off the one loop. And then I've got about 30 or so in the shop, so we're running in total around about 150 aquariums. But because we set some more tanks up, I was able to separate some more fish. So I managed to separate 3 different variations of guppies. Some people don't think guppies are exciting. I'm really, really enjoying guppies at the moment. So there's some really beautiful ones coming through. So we separated 3 of them, and overnight, or over the first night, there was already some fry in one of the tubs, so I'm stoked about that. That was the platinum whites. They are absolutely incredible. They're so white, like they're as white as this coffee cup. It's beautiful how nice they are. So they produce some fry, which I'm happy with. Also managed to separate my gold laser corridors. They should be coming close to coming of age to be able to spawn, and also separated another group of platies, which have already begun producing fry as well. So I'm pretty stoked with that. Some really nice fish coming through. And I'm not sure if I told everybody last time, but I've separated a group of auto synclists, so I wouldn't mind trying to plump them up and get a wee spawn from them as well, because, hey, how cool would that be? So yeah, done a bit of moving and shaking, all with the intention of producing more fish and doing some more spawning. So we'll see how we go. And I've also taken note of some of the suggestions that people thought we were worth having a play around from a couple of weeks ago. So getting some fish and growing some fish on, and then seeing how we go. Cool, do it. Make your way up to Nelson. There's a coffee here with your name on it if you do manage to make your way up, Thomas. I thought it'd be easier to ship larger fish compared to smaller fish. No, the process is still the same. Bigger fish need bigger box, bigger bag. They need more oxygen, all that kind of stuff. So if you kind of envision like one small fish in a liter of water is only going to absorb so much oxygen, where one significantly larger fish in a litre of water is going to consume more, if that makes sense. So everything's got to be on a bigger scale. With a bigger scale comes more weight as well. More weight obviously is more cost to get everything moving as well. So it just increases that risk level a little bit higher. My experience in sending big fish previously hasn't been that fantastic. I've lost more big fish than I have small fish by far. And it's also a little bit more gutting when you lose a bigger fish in transit, because they've had a lot longer life and that kind of stuff. So as a general rule, it is easier to send smaller fish, and that's why, to my belief, most of the fish that come in from wholesale in New Zealand are all smaller fish as well, because they can get more into the bag. It's easier to transport and all that kind of stuff, as opposed to bigger ones. Yeah, gotta love water change day. Did a few water changes yesterday, I think it was. So did about another 20 tanks yesterday. It's an ongoing thing when you've got this many tanks. It's always seems to be water change day, but good times. Do I use bottled oxygen? Yes, we do. So every bag of fish that leaves us, regardless of where it's going, whether someone's bought it in the shop, whether someone's bought it online, we'll always send all the fish, or pack all of our fish with bottled oxygen. Just what we do. We don't charge any more for it. It's just part and parcel of what it is. Just gives chance, particularly gives fish when we're sending just a higher chance of surviving. It's the same reason why we add methylene blue to the water. Gives them more opportunity to uptake more oxygen in the environment, in the water. So we just do everything that we can do to make sure the fish that people buy from us online make it there safely. So just extra precautions. And it's just a little thing. It's an easy enough thing to do. It doesn't cost much to get the oxygen bottle refilled every few months. And it's not an extra hard task to get it done. So yeah, we use oxygen in all the bags of fish that leave us. Not the snails, definitely just the fish. So yeah. When you have a tank with baby guppies and your water changes, always makes it more fun. Yep, you could try using rubber band on a stocking or something along those lines to cover it. Makes it a lot harder to do a gravel vac. But as far as just removing the water and putting water back in, works absolutely fine and minimises the chance of any guppies going up that tube and getting sucked out into the big world of guppy worlds. Cool. So that, other than telling everybody that the new 3 Idiots podcast is coming out Sunday, and it's worth listening to. Check it out on Spotify and YouTube. That is literally all that I've got on my list of things to do today. It's been a bit of a crazy, hectic morning. Like I said, we recorded another episode this morning, which pushed a little bit into my normal work time, which was fine. But because of all the internet issues, it's been a little bit stressful. So, yeah, that's all I've got on my list. So we can sit here and talk about more fish if we want. How do we get on the podcast? Are we talking about the 3 Idiots podcast, or are we talking about the podcast that I do live when we have guests? If you wanted to get onto the 3 Idiots podcast, I believe Cameron, Ryan, and myself have already begun talking about that. That might be something we'll try and work through for next year. The thing that I think might be the issue for some people is we record quite early, sort of 5:30 in the morning most mornings, in that kind of realm. So that might be the issue for some people getting on the podcast. We do that because Ryan works like a trade type job, so he's normally got to be on the road sort of 7:30 sort of thing. So we've got to get it done early. I'm unavailable pretty much every evening, so we can't record in the evenings. And weekends are a bit up and down for everybody, so that's why we record so early in the morning. Who came up with 3 Idiots? Do you mean the name, or do you mean the concept? the concept was Cam said, "Hey, I've got an idea. Should we do a podcast?" And we're like, "Yeah, let's do it." So, a bit of backstory: Cam, Ryan, and myself have a chat group, which I'm sure many people do. We've had a chat group for basically since when Cam opened his shop, and so we talk multiple times a day about multiple different things. And then, Cam said, "Hey, let's start a podcast." So we all jumped on board on that. With that, I think the Three Idiots name sort of just came up as a general, what should we name it? And kind of, there's three of us and we're idiots and we're talking shit sort of thing. And it kind of just occurred like that. So I think that's how the naming of that turned up. Internet issues, just dreadful. So we moved into this building over a year ago now, and there was no issues. And then, there was issues when I first moved in. There was no ability to pick up fiber, so I had to have some crazy router thing that picked up the internet from out of the world somehow. I don't know how it works. I'm not that technical, and so that worked okay, but it really struggled to be able to do live stream. We kind of made it work. It was a bit scratchy, and then maybe 3 or so months ago, maybe a little bit longer, the internet was completely connected properly, so we got rid of that stupid thing that pulled it from the atmosphere, and Chorus set up internet box. That's how technical I am when it comes to stuff like this. The router thing, it was great. Everything's under control. We had every now and then had the odd issue, nothing too drastic. And then over the last 3 weeks, it's been nothing but issues. I'm watching I've got a little icon on the top corner here on my stream thing, and it's just flashing up and down all the time with how strong it is. It's never been this bad. I'm not quite sure what's going on. So this morning, I was hotspotting off my phone off data, and that didn't work. And then it was just an absolute nightmare. So it's not been a good time recently, unfortunately. So I might see if I can find a big Ethernet cable. So I'm here in my office, so the internet is in the shop, so it's quite a distance away. So I have to get a long Ethernet cable to plug it all in, and away we go. So we'll just see how we go with that. So that'll be my first protocol. Ryan suggested that I get myself a new router, so that might be an option as well. But we'll try the plug it in first and see if that makes any issues. Makes any difference. I don't even know what a Starlink is. What is a Starlink? Can someone please answer that? Maybe you, Thomas, but yeah, I don't even know what a Starlink is. For those of you that are watching on TikTok, thank you very much for joining us. We do a live stream once a week every Friday. Often we'll have a guest on. Often we'll have John, who works alongside with me, and sometimes it's just me. So we talk about all things aquariums. So all of the comments that I'm replying to are comments that have been sent over from YouTube and Facebook. So you can watch us both on YouTube and Facebook. The Fish Room NZ, both of them for that as well. How are those clown launches? I thought you got those for yourself. Which clown launches are we talking? The ones that just recently came in from wholesale, or the ones that I've had sitting at the back for a while? The ones that are coming from wholesale were always intended to be on-sold, which they did get on-sold. I got some more this week. 6 centimeters 3 weeks ago is totally different to 6 centimeters right now. 6 centimeters now are way smaller. And then the ones that I got out the back are still here. They're fine. The Bircher decided to eat 2 of them. Not so much eat them, but definitely try and chew them. And so I lost 2 of them, so I'm glad that it's gone now. But the rest of them are fine, except for old Swirly Whirly, who I found on the ground one day. He's a complete mess, and every time you look at him, he's just swirling around everywhere. So that's unfortunate, but he's still eating and all that kind of stuff. He's just a bit weird. Hello, Cameron. How are you doing, buddy? Would you believe it? I'm having internet issues this time around as well. Starlink is Elon Musk's satellite internet. Great for rural areas. Okay. I will look into that. I'm not rural, so it may not help, but we'll see how we go. Yeah, the ones that just came in were always for resale. They were never for me. They would be significantly smaller than the ones that I've got. I think the only way that I'm going to be able to pick up ones of a semi-similar size will be from picking them up from hobbyists when they've decided to move on bigger ones. But we'll see how we go. You never know, some larger ones might come in, but 6 centimeters is far too small for the ones that I've already got. They'll get into the group fine, but they probably won't give me that instant impact that I'm sort of looking for. And on that note, because we're talking about clan loaches, and I'm sure someone's going to bring up, how's your clan loach team coming along? I've ordered the pump. I've got it sitting here right there. I have priced the plumbing and size guided all the plumbing for the holes and all that sort of stuff. So that's next step done. And the overflow tank, I should have all the drawings and the measurements and stuff like that in to the glass people on Monday or Tuesday this week coming up, so I can get that sorted. So I'm relatively confident that maybe over the Christmas break in that week we might be able to knock up that tank, get the overflow going, all plumbed up, not so much plumbed up, but also everything put together and hopefully holding water. Once that stage is done, we've then got to drill holes in the wall, get all the plumbing to go from this room into out there, and then set up and design the sump. So there's still a little bit of work to go. I'm umming and ahhing using the tank that had the front hoses in it for a while ago as my sump. So it's about 600 or so liters. That would give some super duper incredible stability. I might be able to do some things like grow some plants and that kind of stuff in it as well. Either that, or I'll just use one of the small ones that I've already got. So I'm just not sure yet. So we're going to have to move that tank in that sand anyway, because it's right where we're going to put the sump. So we'll just see how we go. Not entirely sure yet, but there's a couple of options when it comes to that. So yeah, definitely. And the clan loach has never made it into the shop. We did a live unboxing video and had a couple of people say that they wanted them, so they never made it into the shop. I've got another half a dozen sitting at the moment out in the quarantine area. I think someone wanted 3 of them or 4 of them, so they'll leave a couple left to move on. So there is a few coming through if you are looking for some more. Good morning, Maxie. How you doing? It's not so much the instant gratification. It's more so some of the other clan loaches are like this big, and then some of the ones that come through wholesale are like this big. So it's more making sure everything kind of balances nicely and sort of works together as opposed to instant gratification. I'm not a Gen Xer. Is it Gen X? I don't know what it is. I'm not one of them, so one of your generation, so it's okay. Good morning, Maxie. How you doing? Is Cam going to be on for a Christmas special? You asked Cam. Cam, are you keen for a Christmas special? Maybe we could do a live 3 Idiots Talk Aquariums podcast Christmas special. Maybe we could find a time that works for everybody, so we could do it in a logical time and do it all live and talk to some people. That would be a good option. But if you're keen to come on, Cam, for a Christmas special, we can absolutely do that. John and myself have spoken about potentially doing some sort of Christmas special like we did last year. We're not sure yet. Everything's Christmas is coming up way too fast, and all the other stuff that happens is coming up ridiculously fast. So not entirely sure where we're at with that at the moment. How's the Christmas idea hamper coming? I didn't think about it until about yesterday, and I've kind of forgotten about it again. So yeah, I'm the first to admit that I'm very much lacking and slacking at the moment when it comes to retailing and e-commercing at the moment. My mind has very much been on setting up the breeding setup out the back and getting some fish moving and that kind of thing. So I apologize to all I believe that our stock level has run down quite a lot at the moment as well, so it's just not even in my mind. I'm just juggling lots of different assets and can't seem to keep them in balance. And I think at the moment the retail side of everything is just lacking off a little bit. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks it'll change as well. Should I be worried about the weight of my fish tank? My door is shutting by itself, and I'm never used to. The fish tank is on the wall next to the door. Possibly. The door is shutting by itself. Yeah, that might be a serious bit of weight if it's able to do that. Though I'd be concerned that the weight would be moving the framing of the house or the framing of the door. Yeah, I'd be a little bit worried about that if it was me. It's not something I've heard before. Yeah, that's very interesting. Is it an old wooden house? And is it a wooden door or is it a sliding door? You're a boomer. I'm not a boomer. How do you call me a boomer? Yeah, we can make it work. I think probably. Well, no one is going to be available to watch us live stream at 5:30 in the morning, Cameron. We've been through this over and over and over and over again. And what do you have to sell, Maxie? Send me a message. You might have something that I'm interested in if you're happy to send some stuff around. Yeah, I agree. It's probably more of a builder question than a Cam question. Dan in the comments is pretty logical and knowledgeable when it comes to things like that. He might be able to help a little bit more. But yeah. Structural engineers are worth getting in to discuss weights. Most houses should be able to deal with at most maybe 300 litres. I always place them on supporting walls over multiple panels. Yeah. Yeah, I'm probably not the person to talk to. I have some knowledge in windows and doors because that's what I used to do, but not so much. Oh, my wife's calling me. This might be important. Maybe not. I'm not sure. Yeah. If your floor is 16-inch on center, it should hold most tanks. If you're getting over 200 gallons, definitely want 12-inch on concrete floor joists. There you go. There's some information to help you. I feel like I should possibly finish this live stream and ring my wife back because she doesn't normally ring when we do live stream, so it might be slightly important. Might not be, of course, as well. All right, what else we got going on here in this chat? Heaps of fish, mostly bedders. Oh, it's a shame. I'm not really looking for bedders at the moment. Although I'm sure I could probably take some. You could still send me some photos and we'll see how we go. Set the fridge open, probably. Probably, except I don't check the fridge before I get up to record before I start. I get dressed, go mumble, stumble, and come to work. All right, cool. So the chat's doing chatty things, and I'm not doing so much chatty things, so that's okay. I'll just sit here and quietly drink my coffee. Most aquarium stands come with the tank to put all the weight on small areas. 500 litres warping ceilings. Wow. That's quite a bit. I've put some fairly large aquariums on some fairly old stuff. I suppose I've been quite lucky, never really had an issue. The first retail shop that we had our racks along one wall. And what were they? Quite a few. I think I'm on 21 tanks or something like that. They're good sized aquariums. And when we removed everything under one corner where the pillar was, it began to sink into the ground. So it was quite soft in that particular corner, but the rest of it was alright. It was just an old wooden one-car garage sort of scenario. So that's the closest I've been to having any major issues. I believe that has been caused by aquarium weight. I've never had one really notice any other issues other than crying windows in the winter, which always suck, or the odd bit of like mold and condensation that's built up on walls and stuff like that, which has been easy enough to work through with adding dehumidifiers and increasing ventilation in fish rooms and stuff like that. So yeah, nothing too drastic as far as proper major damage goes. I had a client who had to redo their steeling because they put a 1,500 litre tank on a second floor and completely. Oh, yeah, I haven't put anything upstairs of any major weight. I'm not sure if I would be so keen on doing that. Max is looking for a Medusa male, if anyone has one. So the LO34, in my opinion, the most ugliest pleco there is. But equally, because they're so ugly, I really want to have them all because they're really unique, if that makes sense. They're flat and they're bushy and they're butty and they're just, they're an ugly yet a cool fish. Are you talking about hand feeding children, or are we talking about hand feeding fish, Helen? I'm not quite sure. I'm lost in that little conversation there. I'm not sure if I'd call them so cute. They are pretty ugly and they are pretty squashed, but I don't know if I'd call them cute. I would definitely call them ugly. But they are definitely they're definitely fish that you could thoroughly enjoy if you're into that sort of thing because they are so ugly. Has anyone lost a bit of skin off their finger because of hand feeding? I have not. Anybody else been bitten when they've been feeding? I don't believe that I have. I might have, but I don't believe that I have been. We don't have L309s here. Let me have a quick Google to see what they look like. I wish we had. I wish we had way more L numbers. Oh, come on, computer. Hurry up. L309. Come on. They're a cool looking fish. They're a very cool looking fish. They're definitely a fish that I wish were here. I don't think they're here, but they're very pretty looking fish. Thompson bitten by a jag. Maxine says she's a mature female from one of our local pleco experts who is downsizing a bit. Ideally, I want to set up a river tank and have a group. They are pretty rare in New Zealand. Shell would love a tank of piranhas. Flower horns of drawn blood on Maxie. Stop that one because it's annoying me. Okay, do you have a buy or sell blue parrotfish? I very seldomly get parrotfish, and every now and then I do. Again, they're one of those fish that I decided not to stock too many of. Try and head towards the smaller fish, the more community-based fish. What we're trying to carry more of, as opposed to the slightly bigger community fish. So not really. We don't really carry parrotfish. If people specifically ask for some, we'll do that, but they're not really a fish that we normally would carry. I'm sorry, mate. Cool. Okay. Yeah, the ones in New Zealand are slightly different. I don't think they're the injected ones. Just a random cross of, like Maxie said, cross with convicts and that kind of stuff. So yeah, cool. So the chat's doing its chatty thing, and I'm not so much. This is a good time. Most of my fishing nanos, guppies, yeah. So that's kind of where we're positioning ourselves as a business, and for the smaller stuff, the more community-based stuff. So as a general rule, obviously there's people in Nelson that keep bigger fish, African cichlids, bigger American cichlids, arowanas, all that kind of stuff. But the market in Nelson is a lot smaller for that sort of stuff, and more people are keeping you're more likely a community type aquarium. So that's where we've based the majority of our fish stocking, into that smaller size stuff, slightly pushing into some of the bigger stuff when it comes to say rams, for example. Won't have a super small, but a couple 100-liter aquarium, and they're good to go. So that's kind of where most of our fish stock are based, in that kind of 200-liter aquarium and smaller. A, because the market's there. B, because the shop isn't big enough to hold enough aquariums to have bigger fish. And yeah, they're the main reasons. So that's kind of where we're at with them. There is plenty of variety when it comes into that. As far as future goes, I would be interested in potentially carrying more dwarf Tanganyikan cichlids. Again, it kind of fits in that realm of where we're at, a couple 100-liter aquarium sort of thing. I have no real interest in carrying Malawi cichlids. I personally like Malawi cichlids, but I have no real interest in carrying them. Definitely have interest in increasing our L number range. We've got a few different groups at the back that I'm wanting to spawn from, to increase that range as well. So that's kind of where that's heading. I'd like to increase our range of microfish and smaller fish even more so. A, because I think they're cool, and B, because I think they're cool. So that's where we're heading a little bit with that as well. So yeah. The discus market in New Zealand, it's kind of a catch-22. They're really expensive. They can be really expensive here. And so, again, as a general rule, a lot of people don't want to pay $250, $350, $400 for a fish. But then they'll happily buy like a $20 fish for this big, and then lose, buy 4 and lose 3 of them and go, discus are hard to keep. In my mind, with discus, once if you buy them at a good size, you pay the money for a good size, half of the problems, 3/4 of the problems that are going to occur with them are already gone. And that's why you're paying the price for it. But people want to pay a lot less, buy smaller fish, and then grow them out. And then, when they don't do so well, they complain about it. That's just the general vibe of how I feel that discus are in New Zealand. Equally, there are some breeders doing some pretty cool stuff when it comes to breeding discus. I don't think our discus scene is as strong as it was, say, 5 years ago. In saying that, I'm not really in the discus scene, so I could be completely wrong. There are some importers bringing in discus on a regular basis, and then people do the quality thing again. I think often people confuse quality with size and condition of a fish. Once they're conditioned, often they're a lot better than what they do when they first come in. So, that's my kind of thoughts on the discus market. It is an area that I've ummed and ahed about getting into, but it's the sending of the discus that I have been reluctant to get into it. Again, I wouldn't want to be carrying sort of smaller stuff. I've been wanting to carry bigger stuff. The market for that in Nelson is very small where we are based, but then sending it around, I'm concerned about sending bigger fish, as we've had this conversation already today. So that's kind of where we're at with that in my mind and my thoughts on discus, at least. Yes, you should move a pair of your Burmese. Bettis. Do it. Okay, so now my computer's not working either. What's going on? Yes, I think you should move a pair of Burmese Bettis into a spawning tank, get that moving, make that happen. Yeah, I don't really like sending big fish either. It just increases the potential risk of things going wrong, which I don't like. So, and again, back to the discus, I feel like shipping discus, selling discus, when they get bigger, people consider them to be of quality, compared to the smaller ones. So yeah, that's where that's at for me with discus. What size tanks do silver dollars need? I've never kept silver dollars. I knew they get to quite large fish. I wouldn't have thought anything smaller than a 4-foot tank would be acceptable for them, so 120 centimeters. And I would have thought that anything over 250, around 300 would be a good option. I think anything smaller than that, you're probably doing them a bit of a disservice. Bearing in mind they want to be in a group and they want a bit of swimming space, so I wouldn't have thought, 4 foot. Anything smaller than 4 foot would be a good option. Anything sort of smaller than 250, 300 litres would be a good option either. So, yeah. So, yeah, Maxi has some silver dollars in a 1,000-litre tank. So, yeah, they do get big. They do like to move. I haven't personally kept them, so I can't give you too much on them. But yeah, I would have go as big as you can for them would be your option. Another fish that we don't carry much of. Carry any at all. Silver dollars are just big tetras, so there you go, if that helps. Big fish that need to be in a group of at least 6 to 8 and they demolish plants. I did know that they demolish plants. I was well aware of that. And I did know they need to be in groups, but yeah, tank size, I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, like I said, the bigger you can do, the better. Silver dollars as in TFR rewards. Well, let's talk about it. Multiple times, maybe not a week, but we get regularly asked what are silver dollars and how do we use them. So for those of you that don't know, silver dollars are our reward point system. It's very simple. You sign up on our website, and then every purchase you make, you get rewarded some reward points. You then can log into the little green shopping bag on the website, tell you how many points you've got, and you can redeem them for discount codes. So essentially it's a 5% reward system. So you can cash that in to get a discount on your next order. You can also earn points by liking us on Facebook and Instagram, YouTube, I think. Signing up to the newsletter, and there's another couple ways as well. So I was thinking about, I haven't started it yet, but also offering reward points for people's birthdays. So a bonus if you've signed up onto our silver dollars rewards system, and it's your birthday, you get some extra stuff. What is the maximum amount you can earn? I don't believe there is a maximum amount you can earn. I had someone redeem $55 or $60 worth of voucher, for lack of a better term, of discount last week. So they were happy with that. They made a decent sized purchase and saved themselves I think it was $57 or something like that. So that was a good time for them. So you can just continue to stack it up and stack them up and stack them up. And you might want to go out and buy yourself an FX6, for example, and then, save all your weight on FX6. Why didn't I call them golden barbs? Why would I call them golden barbs when silver dollars make so much more sense? Come on, Cameron, I expect better from you. All right, we've got a conversation going on in the chat regarding silver dollars. Technically, they're piranhas. Technically, piranhas are just big tetras, right? And then Icarus Ed, same group as Paku, and then Paku, silver dollars, and piranha all rated in piranha omnivorous, just extra toothy. Good chat, people. Good chat. I'm very glad that we don't get Paku here. But theoretically, don't get Paku here. Definitely not in the trade, which is nice, and same with piranha. So, yeah. So I've been rambling for nearly an hour now. No, well, probably rambling for half of that, but yeah. So we can either take it or leave it. We can let you all go on with your day, or we can continue to talk about fish. I don't mind either way. I've got nothing to fidget with in my hand, so I'll pick up here. How's the egg click working? Well, I'd like to say incredibly well, but I haven't plugged it in just yet. I might see if I can do that later today. Haven't had a chance to do it yet. I've just been using my egg cup collector for the time being. I need to either break off a line to run it or drill another airline in, of which I don't have any nozzles or any splitters at the moment. So I will get there. I just don't have anything set up at the moment, and I don't want to put them into a tank, into a smaller tank that's just water and air. So yeah, at the moment they're not doing anything, but I'll get onto it. If I remember, I'll try and order a couple of splitters this week and split a couple of tanks off for some egg collecting. Let's hide that comment. Where are we at? Great live stream. Thank you. I'm sorry that I've disappointed you of not getting the eggs going on yet. Are you going to strip the fronts? Very unlikely. I have always worked on the theory that the first few times an African cichlid holds, you should let them learn to do what they're doing. Very similar to like egg-laying fish, like nest-laying fish. Just let them learn to what they're doing. And in the long run, you'll reap the rewards as far as bigger hatching, bigger clutches, and all that sort of stuff. So I'm very unlikely to strip the fonts this time around, being that I think it's definitely the first time that I've seen them spawning and holding, so we'll just sort of let them be for now. Also, it's quite a large tank, and it makes it quite difficult to catch them. It's quite settled at the moment. I don't want to change up that settling for the time being. So hopefully, if the cuckoos have spawned in there as well, she'll potentially spit out cuckoos anyway. If she doesn't swallow them, and they'll just find their own little way in, and we'll see how we go. Have I had a chance to have a look at any of the wear products yet? I don't know if they're in the country. I know I actually think next week. I can't totally remember, but no, I have not had a chance to have a look at them just yet. But I would very much like to have a look at them. That live stream we did yesterday inspired me to set up that little cube tank, that little desktop tank that I've got beside me. I really enjoyed that conversation, and it really did inspire me to set that up for the little mosquito raspora. So we'll see how we go. I might take a photo of that later on and put it on the Facebook page. Problem with trying to set up a single pump is I don't have any power outlets to do that. Otherwise, I would have a lot more tanks set up, because power is what I'm lacking at the moment. Showing in front would be terrifying. Yeah, it probably would be. They're quite large and chunky. No, what do we got here? When should you clean the canister filter? I've had one for pretty much a year and not really cleaned it. but I don't want it in case I throw out balance out. General rule of thumb, people clear out canister filters when they stop sort of producing as much flow as what they normally would. I, for the best part, subscribe to that as well. But I think if you're cleaning your canister filter out once a year, it's not going to make too much of an issue. It's not like you're cleaning it out, throwing everything out, and putting a new bio or anything like that. You'll be taking out the white filter floss, replacing that one, and possibly giving your sponge pads a bit of a declog. So it's not going to make too much issue, I wouldn't have thought. No real difference to cleaning out, say, a hang-on back filter or a sponge filter every month or so. So I wouldn't have thought you'd have too much issues with that in all honesty. Yeah, at least 2 pakus are on the approved list, and also glad they're not sold in the hobby. The good thing about paku is there are probably many ways of cooking them, but after they have been in an aquarium and treated, I'm not sure if they'll be great to eat. Yeah, I've always wondered that as well. Like some big fish that get big, they're edible and all that, but once they've been eating aquarium food, are they going to be worth eating? Or once they've been going through various, dechlorination treatments and all that kind of stuff, are they worth it? And saying that, like tank-raised salmon, for example, get salmon food thrown to them and they still taste pretty good, so they might still be okay. There's also the how do I eat my pet after I've grown it for the last 3 or 4 years. So yeah. All right. Someone up north was breeding them from food. Cool. That'd be cool. Yeah, Oscars are often used as sport fish over in America as well. There's a lot of people that eat them, just sort of catch them wildly and then fillet them and eat them. They look like the sort of fish that would be decent enough eating. A good chunk on them, and yeah, I'd give them a go. Plecos are another one that's eaten quite a lot. Your standard common gibby plecos are eaten quite regularly. Discus are another one. Also, it's always interesting. Like we look and go, oh, how can you be eating a discus? But like for a tribe living out in the jungle, they catch 2 discus, that's going to sustain their family for another 3 or 4 days. So it is what it is. So yeah, a fish is a fish at the end of the day. And with us being, I guess you could argue, apex predators, we eat everything that's below us, and yeah, they're below us, and away we go. Cool. Okay, so I've now been rambling for an hour, so I think it might be a fair time to disappear, being that I've still got oodles of stuff to do before the shop opens, and I should probably ring my wife back because she's tried to ring me twice now, so it could be a little bit important. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you everybody for joining us. Hopefully the internet wasn't too bad, and hopefully we can get it sorted by next week. We have a guest on next week from memory. He is a tetra breeder, which will be fun to talk about. So I'm quite looking forward to that one. Hope the internet's better and we can have a good chat with him. I'll talk to Cam and Ryan about doing a logical timed live stream, and I'll also talk to Cam about possibly getting him on to do a Christmas special and a bit of banter between us one Friday as well. Other than that, Tim, hope you have a good one. Happy fish keeping. Catch you later.